Oh, this isn't working now all of a sudden. Why the fuck's that? You son of a bitch. What? I just fixed it. Hey everyone, this is a stream that I'm doing to waste time basically. Right, okay, that works. What the Okay, for some reason my soundboard's just stopped working. I was gonna start with Liberty Prime, but now I can't. I don't know what I've done. Oh, son of a bitch, hang on a second. I'm getting this working. I don't give a fuck. I paid good money for this fucking soundboard. Took me ages how to use it, and I never use it.
Communism is a lie.
Right, you should be able to hear that. Hopefully you can hear that. Let me check.
Just destroy all communists.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can hear that, right? So yeah, basically I've been like, I've had like, I don't know, flu or fever or something today, and I've just been laying on my couch all day, unable to sleep and unable to really stay awake, so I've just been drifting in and out. And you know, when you feel shivery and hot at the same time, and yeah, I feel rough. So I'm just killing time to try and fall asleep, because I went to bed and I actually couldn't. But no, glad that you can hear the glorious voice of Liberty Prime, chaps. That's definitely one of my favourite things.
Communist subversion likely.
Let's be fair, it fucking is likely, isn't it? Holy shit, Liberty Prime is a prophet. All hail Liberty Prime, man. But yeah, sorry for wasting everyone's time, but we'll just talk about some shit, you know. What's been going on? So how's Dave Rubin doing? I've been seeing all the I watched the stream, it was fucking sad. I don't really like Candace very much. I wasn't gonna comment on this, but like I really didn't like Candace's performance in it. Like she was insufferable, I found. You know, just constantly interrupting it. She wouldn't just interrupt. She would start shouting down, like, a huge narrative over Blair. And it's like, Blair's literally like, well, I'm trying to explain to you what my point is, but I can't get it out. And then Candace accuses her of interrupting and say, oh, fuck you. You know, I don't really care about social autopsy. It's a terrible idea. I mean, it's like, it's a weapon, you know? It's an unbelievably stupid idea, and Candace could have just been like, yeah, it was a bad idea I had when I was an SJW and didn't realise. But the thing is, right, people have got to understand that Candace is a culture warrior. She's full on culture war. Go back and listen to Dave Rubin's stream, and all she does is talk about power politics. This is an attack. This is this. This is that. She's like, she thinks if she says, well, you asking me this is a form of attack, then she doesn't have to answer. And it's like, no, Candace, even if it's an attack, it's still a valid question that you have to answer. So, you know, get on with it. Stop making excuses. But I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think she's done anything like that wrong. You know, it's like, yeah, it's it's a website that the intent was bad, and I agree that the intent was bad, but it never actually came to fruition. It did have a back end, but I do actually think that she's probably telling the truth when she says the developer called it a splash screen, because I've developed websites before and I would call that a splash screen as well. You know, I mean, like, yeah, it does go to a database, but like, you know, if the actual website isn't built and it's just saving data, then it's not anything that does anything. But even then, it's a really terrible idea to have a place where your enemies can post defamatory things about you that will stay there in perpetuity. I mean, it's literally the opposite of Facebook, you know. So you post things that you like, and your enemies post things you don't like. And I think just the very concept of it comes down from Candace's culture war that she's been engaged in constantly. And I mean, just listen to the language she uses in it. She's constantly like, she's just talking about power politics, and it's like, Candace, can we talk like humans for a minute? Is that? But well, no, like Irish Shane, I can. It's not technically a splash screen, but if I was a developer, I could see the reason for saying, well, it's barely, you know, it's barely more than a splash screen at the moment. You know, don't expect anything enormous from it. But yeah, but yeah, she's in the wrong. I mean, I actually thought Blair handled herself fairly well. But I tell you what, when they would just start shouting, and I was just looking at it thinking, wow, Dave looks like he wants white Sharia or something. You know, like women's liberation was a mistake. In my country, there is a problem, and that problem is the Jew. They take everybody's money and never give it back. Throw the Jew down the well, so my country can be free. You know, I never realised how good a singer Jeremy Corbyn was. That took me ages to do that little bit, but I'm really glad I did it because I really enjoyed it, especially with all the left-wing anti-Semitism going by at the bottom. It's like, and you can go read those articles. In fact, I might grab one up actually because man, they don't like the Jews. A lot of it's conflating with Israel, and then a lot of it's the fact that Jews own, you know, major banks, major corporations, things like this, and so they're essentially being conflated with the capitalist class. And so it's just hilarious, you know. And then Jeremy comes like, well, we're very opposed to anti-Semitism. It's like, are you, Jeremy? Or do you want to be very opposed to anti-Semitism? There is a distinction there. When are you going to do the other half of Dictator Top Trumps? I love the first stream and you haven't got to Gaddafi. Have some money, dude. Thank you, dude. Tulsi 2020. Man, I tell you what, Tulsi, isn't she just fucking the best? I mean, okay, she's a bit left, obviously, but bit further left than I'd be comfortable with. But I think it's really the sort of water she's swimming in. You know, the Democratic Party is grim. I saw an article earlier, or probably a video, I don't know. But the Democratic Party has never been historic lows. Let me see if I can dig up a link. Yeah, so The Independent yesterday. Let me just share my screen. That's it. Boom. Oh, fuck off, advert. Democratic Party reaches lowest approval rating in 25 years. The rats are fleeing the sinking ship, or the ship's fleeing the sinking rat, as Ben Garrison put it. Yeah, the Democratic Party is fucking cancerous right now, and I mean, let's have a look. So, only 37% of Americans saw the party as favourable, while more than half of those surveyed found it not. Let's see what Donald Trump's approval rating is. Oh, low approval rating. No one's got a good approval rating, do they? So 85% of those who voted for Trump in 2016 said they would not do so again. Jesus, that's quite bad. Everyone in American politics is a cunt. That's the takeaway from this. But yeah, with politicians like Hillary, who needs the Republicans? Dude, tell me about it. I swear, if she runs again, he'll win again. Can you even imagine? Trannies give me boners. Am I gay? Good question. Well, I mean, if you view them as attractive women, then no. But I mean, like, the action itself, you are fucking a biological man, so you know, it's up to you to wrestle with that one, I'm afraid, my friend. Our sticks about polling bullshit. Yeah, I know, man. Like, well, I mean, we've seen many times. You just can't trust polls. So, what's my opinion on monarchists like you? Real ones who want the return of kings. I think Thomas Paine has you beat, my friend. I don't think there's a good argument for monarchy. And in fact, I've got common sense here. I think he goes through in here. It's either in here or the rights of man. No, it's not in common sense. It's in... Oh, the rights of man sat on my chair and I can't be bothered to go get it. But, yeah, no, basically, there's no legitimacy to monarchy. That's the problem. The only legitimacy to monarchy is, well, hereditary succession. And as Paine says, you know, that's putting a family who wasn't put there for any particular reason other than strength in, and putting them to rule over your posterity putting their posterity to rule over your posterity in perpetuity. How is that fair or just? It's ridiculous. And the thing is, I quite like our royal family. I don't want to get rid of them either. I guess if they're going to be symbolic, I don't mind it, because they're not going to do anything. But in reality, no, they're just no. You're the man. Thanks, man. I feel like awful at the moment though. I should be studying. You seem like a good guy. Who needs a university degree anyway? Cheers. I didn't, but to be honest with you, I'm gonna probably go get one, because do you know what I was doing all this morning, while I was editing that video? I was listening to Yale University's. It's not the Introduction to Political Science. It's another course, but basically they've just recorded all of their lectures and put them on their YouTube channel. It's fantastic. And listen, it really helps. It's like being at a university, and so I was listening to all of that while I was editing. It was really good. But I'm at this point, I may as well just go and get a degree, to be honest. I was listening to I don't know why, but I listened to my video of bell hooks, probably because I was using it in the video to tease Corey, being like, oh, he doesn't know anything about feminism. He's never even read a book from feminism. It's like, Corey, I've got a fucking dissection of one here. And so I had to listen to it through. And I was actually really proud of myself. Because a lot of the time, when you're doing something like this, you end up learning a lot, And so in two years is a long time. If you're doing what I'm doing, I'm continually reading, continually learning. And that's the way to succeed on YouTube, I think, when talking politics. Don't just get stuck into policy. This is the thing that David Pakman did his reply video, which I am going to reply to. It's just like, David, that was a terrible response. But he was talking as if policy is more important than principle. It's like, no. Policy is formed from principle. You know what policies are coming if you know what someone's principles are. So you have to understand the political science of what you're talking about. And the thing is, David Pakman is not uneducated on political science. So it's weird that he puts, just being a policy wonk above being someone who legitimately understands things. But yeah, usually I look back on some old videos and cringe, because I'm so, oh shit, I didn't know this, that, and the other. But I was really, really rather pleased with my bell hooks one, because it was a really thorough analysis of the book, and I was genuinely like, wow, I forgot how much work I put into that. But if you could have a weird superpower, what would it be? Probably fast forwarding time. So I could fast forward through the boring bits that I knew I had to do, but didn't really want to do. But so at the end of it, I'd done all the work. I'd done everything that I was supposed to do. It just wouldn't take, you've got to spend the next 6 hours reading. Oh, fucking hell. Okay, fast forward. Right. 6 hours has passed. Great. You've read all this stuff. Great. You've got the knowledge. Great. That would be awesome. That would really make my life a lot easier and a lot more fun. Do you think the Democrats will go and let Bernie Sanders be their knight in shining armour? I don't know why Bernie Sanders would want to be. I mean, what is he, 74? And they screwed him. Like Donna Brazil, hey, by the way, we screwed Bernie. No. Well, I don't think they'll do it. I don't. And to be honest with you, can we just choose a politician that's under 70? Or even under 60? Just choose politicians in their 50s. There's good life experience. They can have like a 20 or 30 year track record. And they're not on death's doorstep. So, just saying, choose someone. I mean, they don't have to be in their 30s or anything, but don't choose someone who's as old as the fucking hills. I just came here to redistribute my wealth to the underprivileged, i.e. the English. Praise cake. Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate it, man. You taught me to be critical and neutral. Thanks. Dude, I think that's the most important thing. One of the things I was really proud of myself with the bell hooks thing is, sorry, I'm going to fucking sneeze, is, fuck's sake, my nose is, being ill is bullshit. I tell you, not getting colds would be a good fucking superpower. Or flu. But, but I'd gone through and, spoken to bell hooks' strengths, and that I started with those. And I think that's important. I don't even know what currency NOK is. I always want to say North Korea, but I know it's not. love your work. Have you ever checked out 1719L on YouTube? They're fantastic. I have. They're traditional conservative analysis, but they're very good. Very, very thorough. I do enjoy the channel. Are you going to talk about the political purge that's happening in Saudi Arabia? Also, I'd love if you could chat to Gavin McInnes and Stefan Molyneux. I'd happily chat to Gavin McInnes and Stefan Molyneux. I've chatted to Gavin many a time. He's a lovely guy. I really, really enjoy Gavin. I've never spoken to Stefan Molyneux, but I've got no problem with him. I disagree on certain points of principle and things like that, but I don't think taxation's theft, for example. But I don't think I think he gets an unfair rap for the cult leader thing, because I've been thinking about this a lot, actually, because on the surface of it, it does sound, you should, if your parents are pissing you off, you should stop talking to them. I mean, I don't agree with that, but I think it's come from his libertarian leanings rather than his desire to form a cult. I think it's because he's basically, or he was, an anarcho-capitalist at the time. Did you see USA Today's video about gun attachments? They literally showed a chainsaw as an actual attachment. No, I've got to find this. Hang on. USA Today thinks I'm going to show my screen now. Oh, fuck me. This is incredible. Holy shit. This looks like something Chaos Warrior carry. A chainsaw bayonet. I tell you, that would be a popular AR-15 accessory, let's be honest. Holy fuck. That's amazing. That is so fucking good. Oh, fuck me. That is just 40k all over. I love it. I absolutely love it. They're getting wrecked on Twitter after the publication posted an illustration of an AR-15 rifle with a chainsaw bayonet. Let's see the video. Yeah, okay, shut up, Twitter. Do we have volume? Right, we don't have any sound to this. Front sight, rear sight, handguard, 30-round magazine, yep. Trigger, good observation there, USA Today. For many aftermarket options, some common, some rare. 100-round drum magazine, yep. Underbarrel 12-gauge shotgun, that's cool. Trigger crank? Can someone tell me what trigger crank is? Chainsaw bayonet? That's fucking brilliant. I think someone should make that, to be honest. Dude, come on, fucking chainsaw bayonet. Oh, by the way, am I going to talk about the political purge that's happening in Saudi Arabia? Yes, but the thing is with things like this is that, I don't know where the chips are going to fall. And so I'm not massively familiar with Saudi Arabia's inner politics either. I know that they have a massive monarchy that rules the entire country with no political parties or anything like that. And this is clearly some kind of internal purge. So someone, presumably a Stalin-esque figure, can take over. But it'll be something I'd have to do a lot of research into. And I can't be bothered. I've got other things I'm doing. I just don't have the time, to be honest. Gears of War. Yeah. Do I have any tips for a full-time student who wants to do social political commentary? I appreciate the advice. If you are doing something political, that will be to your advantage. If you're a student, it's probably difficult to do to spend a lot of time doing highly edited videos, because that one I put up today, that took a week for me to, I wrote in a day, but it took me a week to record and edit. And, I was quite pleased with that, actually. I thought it was one of my more fun videos. But it is time intensive. I personally would do the research and then just keep it simple when it came to the videos, and oh shit, check my Facebook DMs for an AR-15 chainsaw. Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, just keep the videos fairly straightforward, unless that's something you've got a particular desire to do, I guess. And Sorry, I'm just looking for this thing. And yeah, but beyond that, I'm actually really bad for advice because I loving the McNuke that you sent me. Can I get this one? Yeah, there we go. Oh, fucking McNukes. That's great. So yeah, anyway, USA Today. Shut up. Oh, I tell you what, I need a new mouse. I've ordered a mouse from Amazon. It's taken 3 days to get here. When it's supposed to get next day delivery. And my mouse button, I swear to God, I've got to press it all twice. But yeah, good luck, basically. Talk about things you find important, relevant. Sorry, and just don't waste people's time. I think that's the key thing. I would say don't waste people's time. Constitutional monarchy is good because you can like and be loyal to a symbolic sovereign country while hating politicians. That's true, and I mean there's something to be said for a symbolic monarch having control over having the ultimate loyalty of the armed forces. It means you can't have a Sulla, but yeah, obviously, an absolute monarchy is a terrible thing. Hi, Daddy. Hi, Michael. There's nothing good about any form of monarchy. It's not like as bad as it sounds, but it's definitely better to have a democracy. Trigger crank works similar to a Gatling gun. Cranking it makes it shoot rapidly, but would be generally more inaccurate. Right, okay, thank you. I'm from Northern Ireland. I'm wondering what you think of the political situation here, seeing as we may soon come under Westminster's direct rule because the DUP and Sinn Féin can't agree on anything. Unfortunately, I don't spend a whole lot of time paying a huge amount of attention to Northern Irish politics either, I'm afraid. I first became aware of the DUP when they went into a coalition with the Tories. Or have they actually done that? Or is it just sort of like on the back burner? But Sargon am I a gun owner? I'm not, but honestly, I'm tempted to go get a gun just so I can prove to Americans that we actually can have guns in this country. I could get a shotgun or a rifle, I came with Civ 6, what the fuck's Sargon? Dude, I'm in no condition. I was saying that I've been playing Doom a lot recently. I've installed the newest version of Doom because it's got some great style to it, and I've really been enjoying it. But my mouse sucks. And my thoughts and prayers with Dave Rubin. Yeah, I'm still. I mean, I never thought I would think that women's suffrage and women's rights were a bad idea, but that stream's down. Can I do a live debate with Democratic Socialist 01? Yeah, I could talk to him. Dan Carlin can come to my house and fuck my sister, dude. I totally agree, Emmanuel. Cunt, sorry. I fucking love Dan Carlin. Wish me luck for my exam in 40 minutes. Good luck, Vaughan. What's it on? I work at a large university designing marketing materials. I'm told to push diversity. I want to speak up, but I need my job, obviously. Any advice? Keep your head down and do your work, because otherwise they'll just fucking fire you. Don't be a hero, unless you have a plan like James Damore. But we'll just keep supporting people who are working against the intersectional agenda. We will win eventually, I promise. They're like these sort of like oppressive regimes, which is basically what they are. It's amazing how they're always like, oh, you're on the wrong side of history. It's like, yeah, I don't think that these things really last. I think liberty is something that people naturally gravitate towards, especially on, like, oh, you're a white man, therefore. I mean, the progressive stack is really hitting university classrooms at the moment, and like that is not going to last for long. I'm absolutely certain of it. Get Shapiro on the Thinkery podcast. Yeah, I should do, really. I should email him. I've never reached out to him, to be honest. I like Shapiro though. The thing is, he's a very intelligent man, and I don't feel well educated enough yet. He's a fearsome intellectual. I like him, even if he does believe in God. I watched this video talking about God earlier, and I was just like, oh. There's the sad reality is there is no God, is there? The universe doesn't require God to exist. Why would he do that? If he's all places at all times and he has all power and can see everything, why did he create a universe that doesn't require his existence? What's the point? It was like, oh well, I'm gonna make things have faith that I exist. Why? Fucking, why would you do that? Why not just be there? You know, you don't, like, you would guarantee that everyone would worship you in the right way if you would just prove your existence. Oh, but that's why you have to have faith. Why? Why does an omnipotent super being, like the super being, need people to have faith in him? It's so needy and insecure. It's obviously coming from human psychology. For non-lethal ammo, do British guns fire tea bags instead of beanbags? Last English joke I saw. I don't mind the English jokes, I don't think it's cool. I don't know, actually. I'm assuming they're beanbags. But I remember when I was in like Scouts firing a .22. I wasn't bad, actually, to be fair. I was, not like bullseye on every shot, but like, a fairly respectable cluster on the target range. I had it on my wall. It was pretty much my only achievement. Send the chainsaw bayonet picture to walls so see if you find it. Oh, thanks. I'm gonna. Okay, I'll check that out now. God damn, man. Being sick is just gay. Like, everything is a hassle. Like, my son's like, Daddy, I want to read a book. Not that caringly, but he's like, Daddy book, and I'm so, I did. I ended up reading like 2 or 3 books from him, but it was just like, yeah, I was playing Doom earlier, and I didn't realize you actually start with a chainsaw. That's pretty great. So I was, I don't know, fighting some giant thundering beast, and I accidentally pulled out the chainsaw because I thought G was for grenades, and suddenly I'm hacking this thing in the face. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. But yeah, that's amazing. What a lad. Please consider this video. Let me see what this video is. Well done, USA Today. Fucking. I just can't get over it. It's like, yeah. It's common. Everyone. Oh, is this dude? I haven't spoken to him in ages. I'm gonna, this is an hour long. Fucking hell, dude. I hate to be that guy, but that's a long time. When you've got loads of stuff. So apparently I argue that terrorism and suicide bombings are motivated and justified by Islam. I think they are. So, I mean, I'll go through this at some point. But I'm pretty sure that they are, man. Like, it does seem that it's justified by scripture. That's all I'm saying. But I will go through that at some point. I can't remember the name of the chap, but I spoke to him. He was really nice. Apparently he'd had like problems with Thunderfoot or something in the past. I'm like, well, okay, I've been there. But I don't care. I'm tired of drama. Oh, check this out, right? Existential Comics. This is like yesterday's comic or something. It's the Russian Revolution because it's the 100-year anniversary, and I love this. So, unrest was growing in the Pokemon world, a spectre of a new idea, a spectacle: communism. Underground newspapers circulated among the Pokemon. They spoke of a daring dream, a dream of a world without Pokeballs, without masters. Lucario was returning from exile. That's great. This is the thing, I genuinely enjoyed this guy's comics, but holy shit. The moment to act was finally at hand. The Supreme Gym Leader had been toppled by Ash, and now all the gyms have sent delegates to form a new governing body of Pokemon, led by Ash, to set the new rules of Pokemon battles. But Lucario had far more radical plans. Was that Lenin or Trotsky that was sent by Germany from, like, Switzerland? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's Lenin, actually. Friends, comrades, I ask you this. What's the purpose of humans? It is we who battle the gyms. It is we who draw the cards. It is we who battle wild Pokemon. It is we who built this world. But who gains the glory? Not the Pokemon. Yeah, this is very interesting because, like, in a Pokemon communist revolution, there would be no need for Pokemon to battle because it's just for the self-aggrandizement of the humans. So your entire civilization is going to crumble to dust as your Pokemon battle-based economy is supplanted by nothing. So, I mean, I don't know what the other option is in the Pokemon universe. I actually watched quite a lot of Pokemon when I was in university and I was stoned. So, it is time to do away with the humans. See, this is where I have a problem with communism. It's time to do away with the bourgeoisie. Yeah, but they're people. They're people who, like... And you're acting as if they're just all exploitative, but they're not all just exploitative, are they? I mean, maybe in Russia in 1917, but even then, what was I watching? I know I was listening to an audiobook about the Russian Revolution because 100-year centenary, whatever. And apparently, before the revolution itself, Russia had like the 6th highest GDP in the world, and it was. It was actually a fairly decent economy, but I don't know how trustworthy that is because I've only listened to about 2 hours of the book so far, so don't take that as gospel or anything. Four legs good, 2 legs bad. That is exactly where this is going. I promise you that is exactly where this is going. And the thing is, right? Do you know what I love about this is that communists don't understand class because they conceive of class being entirely materialistic, obviously, and therefore they view it being based on economic wealth in relation to the means of production. But that's not what a class is, really. Class is formed by mutual self-interest, and so you end up with like a bureaucratic class running a giant Orwellian superstate, for example. They're a class of people. They all have shared interests, shared investment in the superstructure, in the bureaucracy itself, and they've all got the same basic needs. They don't want to do a huge amount of work. They have to serve the public, and so these two, like interest and duty, are in opposition to one another. But with capitalism, interest and duty are aligned. So, as Adam Smith says, the baker doesn't bake his bread because he likes you. He does it because he gets something out of it. But it's also fulfilling a duty to feed other people. And so, no wonder that's been really fucking successful, because you're not going against anyone's interests. You're aligning duty with interest. That's the miracle of capitalism, I think. But yeah, so any system is going to end up with classes. Like, I'll tell you what, one of the things I love are the anarcho-syndicalists. They're like, yeah, well, the workers will control all of the means of production, so we'll have like a union that controls all of the paper factories, we'll have a union that controls all of the ink factories, and then we'll have a union that controls all of the newspapers. And it's like, yeah, and they will all be in opposition to one another in some way. And they may form a super class themselves of people with a shared interest, which is propagandizing the public. And if you're going against that, you will find yourself like with people shoulder to shoulder against you, unanimously against you, if you challenge their power structure, because it will be a power structure. It's the dream of having a classless society is fucking dumb, is what I'm saying. You will never, ever, ever in all of human history have a classless society. I mean, like. When Antifa, I was watching an Antifa documentary the other day, and they were complaining how the women were the ones in the kitchen making the Molotov cocktails, and the men were out practicing how to throw them with slings or something. It's like, yeah, it's always going to happen. It's always going to happen. It's just something innate in human nature. So the animals will start walking on 2 legs, and you'll find yourself back where you started. So what you should do is aim for something that has a much greater rate of success and is much more sensitive to power being abused. And that's why liberalism is so good. Liberalism is very good at checking power, because power is, I mean, like, there is nothing to put above the individual. So any individual can claim power over the state, which is why we have democracies. That's you exercising your power over the state. Anyway, I'm getting off on one now. Oh, but did you guys know I'm doing a live show in London next month? So I'll do a video about it when the tickets will go on sale on Saturday. So I'll do a video on Saturday and link to the tickets. But yeah, so basically you just get to hear me talk shit in London if you guys want, and I'd love to do like Q&A things and stuff like that. Just sit there and chat to everyone, just have some fun. I'll get a bunch of funny articles and videos and stuff. But yeah, sorry, I'm still going through these comments. I used to be a shop steward in the union. I don't want them to control shit. Yeah, they become really corrupt, don't they? And they become, like my dad is the world's most hardcore conservative, and it's because he grew up with the labour unions dominating the country before I was born. And he remembers, electricity cutting out 3 days a week and people only working 3 days a week and shit like this. And it's just like, yeah, this is a first world country. I'd like to keep it that way. Let's be honest, evolutionary forms are the human of the Pokemon world. I'm not sure, actually. Sorry, lol, those dumb conservatives believe in the Sky Daddy, say you're the socialists. Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm such an atheist asshole, man. I've never believed in God. I just don't see any argument for God. I don't know what the origin of the universe is or anything like that. But I don't agree with the God of the gaps theory. Anything we can't explain must be God. No, that's obviously not. It's just beyond our understanding at the moment. And the thing is, like, I'm not really like an anti-theist so much, because in Britain, like, it's a very secular country. 52% of the population are atheist or agnostic. So, and it's just impolite to talk about your religion. It's really cringy. Everyone's like, why is this person talking to me about God? Like, every now and again, you'll see a preacher in just a small town, and there'll be one guy who sat there ranting and raving about God, and everyone will just like avert their eyes and walk past. It's like, no one wants that. But but it's time to do away with the humans, because this is what communists do. They genocide an entire class of people because they're classists. They view the world through a lens of class. The Nazis view the world through the lens of race, and so they wanted to genocide an entire race of people. It's no less genocide when the communists do it, just because their chosen victims aren't done by race, you fucking loons. I love the meme. It's like someone, some commie shooting someone in the back of the head, and the caption is just, at least there isn't a racial component to this. So yeah, thank God, I guess. Wow, that's talk about fucking small prizes. Enough Lucarios, says Pikachu, who's always been my favourite, actually, I've got to say. Ash treats us well, he gives us berries, he looks after us, he is our friend. Yeah. To be fair, though, right, with the Pokemon universe, they are slaves, aren't they? And Ash does, like, capture them with violence, subdues them, and then forces them to fight for him. So they're basically like Mamluks, or the, what the Turkish one's called? Fuck, I can't remember what the... Oh, it's escaped from my memory. But they're basically like the Turks. This is pissing me off now. Right, I'm gonna look this up. I'm finding this. I don't care. This is pissing me off. Wikipedia, come to my aid. What were they fucking called? Where's the military? Oh, god damn it. This is pissing me off. The Ottomans had a thing where they... I'm sure someone in the chat's already answered it, haven't they? Janissary, that's it. But yeah, Ghazis not necessarily. Ghazis were just warriors for Islam. Yeah, Janissaries you can. Yeah, thanks, dude. Dude, it's late and I've been out of it for the whole day, man. Yeah. Sorry, maybe answer those who gave you money, capitalist scum. Sorry, I've been trying to answer them. I'm thinking about making a YouTube channel about tech topics like reason, science, faith, etc. I love that's our topics, isn't it? But focus on a younger demo. With all the peeps like us on YouTube, is it worth it? P.S. How about having a talk with an actual trap like me? Twilight Phoenix? Yeah, I don't mind talking to a trap. You can message me on Facebook if you want to get in. If you want to get in contact, I'll do my best to look out for it. But you know how things are. Please invite Wosley on a live stream. I was losing patience with waiting for that lazy drunken orange to upload a goddamn video. His content's pure gold, but rare. Too fucking rare, dude. I totally agree. I fucking love Wosley. I genuinely just love the way he addresses things. It's just fun. But Anyway, let's carry on with the Pokemon. Everywhere you find oppression, you will find it among among the ranks of the oppressed who will sell out their comrades for a few scraps from the master's table. Okay, you're right. This is something I find very interesting, because I don't see how communism or anarchism aren't a form of economic totalitarianism. Because, I mean, if they want to go and be communists, then I don't care. If they want to set up a commune somewhere and live in the woods, farm their fields, work in their factories, they're collectively in factories, and, I presume try and sell their goods, I wouldn't give a fuck. Good for them. I'm glad you're living the dream of being a communist without having to actually hurt anyone for once. Same with anarchists. If they're like, well, we want to live in the California desert and, do everything collectively, because honestly, anarchism is basically communism. This is the thing. Communism's end state was a stateless society without money, without anything. Anything like that, anything hierarchical, anything that could be considered oppressive. And I mean, it's so. I guess they're thinking that a melon farmer will sit there. He'll sow his fields. He'll tend the crops until they've all grown, and then he'll take the crops down to the market and just leave them there, and then just wander off. And it's like, would he? Would I do that? Not if I didn't have to. No, I'd just sit there and go, "Oh, I've got a lot of melon." I don't think I'm going to bother. I just, and the thing is, I really think it's what Aristotle was saying about the tragedy of the commons. Just things held in common are just mistreated by everyone. They're not taken care of by anyone. And I mean, imagine communal raising of children. How fucking bad would that be for the kids? I mean, you watch, my son, right? He's obviously massively well attached to me. And so, if I come downstairs to get a cup of tea, he runs out of the living room, "Daddy!" and it's the most adorable thing in the world. And then I have to break his little heart by saying, "I've got to go back upstairs and carry on working, son." And he's just, he gets upset by it, because it's like, "Oh wow, Daddy's here, we can talk, we can play," and all this. And it's like, just having a bunch of kids when nobody gave a shit about them particularly. Just yeah, well, they're all everyone's kids, so yeah, you're all okay. Here's some food. It's free because we just give it, put everything in a pile in the market square or something. But I don't think that's going to lead to healthy kids. I think it's going to lead to kids who just don't give a shit about anything because no one gave a shit about them, really. Whereas, I love spending time with my son. So it's I just find it hard to believe it'll be good for the kids. So Pikachu uses Thunderbolt. Lucario uses dialectical punching. So, dialectics is Hegel's conception that it's basically like Darwinism for ideas. We have a thesis, which is the status quo, and because it's imperfect, it creates within it generates its own antithesis, which then comes into conflict with the thesis when it grows big enough, presumably, and through this conflict, they find a synthesis where they form a new idea, and that new idea, being imperfect, creates a thesis. It creates an antithesis, which comes into conflict, and it's the idea that it's an ever-evolving state until we find the perfect idea. I think there's probably a lot of merit to it. I find it very interesting. I don't think it's a good excuse to just ignore people's ideas, though, and that's what I think effectively communists do. They say, no, dialectical materialism, and then they see that as a way of dismissing, as if, and this is the thing, dialectical materialism, it's materialistic, obviously, and so, there's no communist analysis without the material conditions of the people within it, and that's weird, because the ideas are what really motivate people to do things. So, the class conditions, for example, in the Middle Ages, the class conditions, going on a crusade, you'd get people lowborn, you'd get people highborn. The class conditions didn't affect the fact that they were all Christians. They all had the idea that Urban II had called a crusade, and therefore they should all go to the Middle East, and they did. The class conditions were irrelevant to the people going on the crusade. I've read a lot of literature about the Crusades, and the plebs aren't they're not agitating for the overthrow of the aristocracy while they're on the crusade. It's just not in their minds. They're obviously, and it obviously wasn't as bad as everyone says, because if it was intolerable, they wouldn't tolerate it. But I should debate AIU. I just want to get AIU to come on and chat. I like Devin Tracy, to be honest, because he's a Generation Xer. And And basically, we were the best generation. Also, starting with thinking of starting a channel. How do you thoughts? I don't even know how I got anywhere. I don't know what. I guess when I started, very few people were talking about what I was talking about. Communists want to escape the oppression of factory by turning the entire world into a factory. Child logic, really. Totally true, Mexican. And what I love about this is, like, you fucknuts realise that we're basically in a post-industrial society in the West. Like, they are so anachronistic. They're like, yeah, but the labourers in the factories, like, go to China, dude. They're already fucking communists. And you know what? It sucked to the point where they had to start opening up capitalist zones to start making China a wealthy country, which it has done. 400 million peasants have come out of poverty so far. You couldn't find a better capitalist success story, and it had to happen in a communist country that was piss poor. They had 800 million peasants like 30 years ago. So okay, good. Will I debate David Pakman on the drunken peasants? You're damn right I would. I wouldn't want it to be a debate though, because legitimately I do like David Pakman. I like him. I think he's a nice guy. I was just surprised how defensive he was, because I didn't think I was really attacking him in my video. But I mean, come on, David. Socialism is economic totalitarianism. You can't say that that's not left wing. It is left wing. It's very left wing. But yeah, the conception of communism is fucking anachronistic. Like, there are loads of people, like hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people who make their living through the internet now. So it's not like they're in factories. Well, maybe they work in a warehouse and they ship something. Oh, the terrible oppression. What they do, they've got drones doing this shit now. I mean, like, have you seen these warehouses? It's just dudes pottering around all day on a forklift truck, and they zip around and it's like, these guys aren't being oppressed. They're rather enjoying their jobs. And I know, because I worked with these people. I worked in these fucking things. I worked for, I can't remember the fucking name of it now, but when I was in my 20s, it's not like they're sat there on a factory line in the 19th century, putting bolts in, and the people who are doing that already live in communism. So it's like, you are fucking lunatics. Just like what your conception of reality doesn't fit. And this is another thing I always want to know from communists. Okay, what happens to the entrepreneurs? Nothing. They get killed for being capitalists. That's what happens. I mean, who the fuck is going to invent new things? Everyone has to work in a factory. I mean, and then the thing is, right, it will be mandatory to have a job. Like, you understand this, right? You won't be able to not have a job, because it will become immoral. You'll be called a parasite, like they literally were in Eastern Europe for not having a job in communism. So it's just like, would you go on the official podcast and shoot the shit with Critical? Kate is a bit of an anti-SJW. Critical? I don't know who that is, I'm afraid. But yeah, I've got no problem talking to anyone, really. Finish the bloody comics. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I haven't got to the good bit yet. The reactionaries are defeated, comrades. To the winter gym. To do what? What are you going to do at the gym? Rise, brothers. Somewhat to freedom, up, brothers, to the light. Out of the dark past behind us, the march for future is bright. What was that? Boom. Time to murder Ash. It's just a 10-year-old kid. Your time has come to an end, Ash. The time has come for the Pokemon to rule themselves, right? What I love about this, though, he's got a little... he's obviously a communist, right? But it's this line. Oh, and also, let's not put Stalin in charge next time. And it's like, you fucking moron. Stalin took charge because he was the kind of guy who would take charge. And there's a reason why all of these fucking socialist revolutions, instead of coming out with anarcho-communism, come out with a fucking they call it state socialism under a dictator, because it's too easy for a dictator to take over. Because if you're conducting a revolution, right, it gets violent and it gets bloody, and it's very difficult to hold people to account because you are currently overthrowing the authority of the state. So if say Stalin decides to take a bunch of you out and shoot you in the back of the fucking head, then who's going to hold him to justice? Who's going to bring him to justice if he's controlling these things? He'll just shoot anyone he needs to shoot, including you, Existential Comics Corey. You are a useful idiot, and you would be shot. You would not make it to the end of a revolution, and not because your enemies had shot you. It'd be your fucking close friends. Okay? This is the problem. I mean, think about it. You've got like the Red Terror running through the streets. People are terrified, and then Stalin and a gang of thugs with guns say, "Right, I'm taking control. I'm going to enforce order. The Red Terror will end." Dude, he'll get anything he fucking wants. Anything. People will beg him to be the dictator. And once again, you fucked up. Just once again, you fucked it up. Because communists are fucking losers who keep fucking up. That's my opinion on them, honestly. And what really annoys me is, like, you're a fucking entrepreneur, dude. What do you think is going to happen to you? Do you think, like, what, you'll just be, like, what do you think the value of your comics is? You're not going to know in communism, because I tell you what, I don't want any of my labour going to you for your shitty comics. You know, I'm actually, that's not fair. I actually quite like his comics, which is why I'm annoyed by this. You know, but I'm going to be, I'm just going to be like, well, I don't want this to go to you. And like, what? How is this handled, Corey? You know, why should you be able to draw comics for a living while someone else has to work in a fucking factory making the things that you use to draw comics? You know, you as an entrepreneur, you've managed to do this because you've put the work in, you've got your nose to the grindstone, and you've managed to make it float. You've managed to get probably quite a few backs on Patreon. Let's have a look, actually. Look at that, 1,400 a month. That's really fucking decent to make comics. You could live off that if it was just you. You know, you could live on that if you were being sort of sensible. And like like you've made that happen as an entrepreneur. You've made this happen, and that's a credit to you. Why should someone else get to like have any part of your business? I mean, you like I don't know how the system's supposed to work anyway, really, because it's never laid out exactly how these things are going to govern themselves. It's always just, well, it'll be run by the people. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. You know, who's going to be running your webcomics, Corey? Do I get to be some kind of stakeholder in your webcomics? Because, I mean, it's being run by the people. You know, it's not owned by you. Your comics. Private property, Corey, it's gone. But, it's just... You know, but anyway, it's yeah. I don't think you. I don't think you're being intellectually honest. To be honest, this is the thing, because I've actually read this guy's comics quite a while, and you know, you see him shed around every now and again. They're always pretty decent. So his Antifa one was just like, wow, that is legitimately dishonest, and I think it's emotional. I think the drive to make communism work is an entirely emotional one, completely divorced from the reality of the situation. And it's not like I'm not using my emotions to reason myself into this position. I'm just like, right, okay, what's my stated end goal? It'd be high quality of life for the most amount of people with the least amount of deaths involved. And communism is not the means to get to that end. In fact, it's the inverse of that. Huge amounts of death, terrible standard of living. So it's just like, that's a terrible thing. But liberalism, you know, private property, self-determination, rights, freedoms, blah, blah, blah. Totally, I mean, it's demonstrable. China starts capitalizing and, you know, becoming more liberalized, and suddenly the Chinese are getting rich. You know, and like 400 million people are now richer in China than they were. That's such a good thing, you know. Just like, and this is the thing. I'm doing an analysis on the Communist Manifesto, which is why I can talk about this so breezily, because I've been literally I've been knee deep in it for weeks now. And I tell you what, getting to grips with dialectical materialism, I'm just giving you a really brief overview as well. I'm gonna have to go really deeply into it. And the thing is, I don't want laymen doing a fucking video on me. So I have to fucking know it. And it's yeah, anyway. But yeah, in the Communist Manifesto, what the fuck was I gonna say about it? There was some fucking thing. I can't remember, it's gone now, sorry. I haven't looked at the chat in ages, sorry. Do the official podcast vampire help them assume their final form? The official podcast? I've never heard of that, sorry. The official podcast. Never heard of it. It's a great name, though. Oh man, I tell you what, I'm thinking about bureaucracies a lot recently as well. Just the nature of them, they're actually really insidious. The idea that anyone would argue for more bureaucracy is actually pretty mental to me. Like, it's just obviously the worst thing to do things. Why does it have the PewDiePie logo? I'm writing a 15-page research paper on collectivism and identity politics and individualism and the Constitution. Interested? Yeah, dude. That sounds interesting. If you want to email me a copy, I'll take a read. Maybe it's good. Individualists of the world unite. What I love about that statement, right, is that it literally could encompass everyone. Like, there isn't a group of people who go, no, you're not allowed in. I'm sorry. It's only you can come to us if you're an individualist. Anyone can be an individualist. Literally anyone can do this. Not everyone can just abandon being part of the bourgeoisie. Hello, classical fascist here. Hey man, I love your content and often find you to be reasonable. I was wondering if you'd be willing to Google hang out with me sometimes so we can know about classical fascism. Have a nice day. We can. Honestly, I'm more familiar with Nazis' version of fascism. I imagine you're talking about Mussolini, aren't you? I'm more familiar with the Nazis, to be honest, so that would probably be more useful for me to talk about just on an expertise level. But I like, in fact, that's a great example of why bureaucracy is bad. I mean, like, the Nazi economy was just it was just a bureaucratic nightmare, and it was constantly like it was just. You can see the German conservatives, the business owners, like just crying out for laissez-faire. They're just like, holy shit! Like, so there's stories of like, yeah, some businessman writes a letter to the central, I can't remember the name of it, just some central warehouse that's owned by the government and run by the government, obviously. And he's like, oh, I'm waiting for a delivery of wool from England. And they're like, right, okay. And eventually he tries to get it, and he can't afford, or he doesn't have the paperwork or something, so he has to come back. But then he has to pay a toll, because it's been left in the warehouse, and now he's losing his profit, and then suddenly he's got to and then they were totally corrupt as well, and so they would just put blocks in your way and stuff like this, and it's just like it's just totally, it strangles an economy to give government intervention for planning an economy. It's just never going to be as fast as people just doing it themselves. It's just shortest distance. Just deal with the other person. So yeah. I don't agree with fascism. It's a terrible economic system. I'll send Layman the script and have him proofread. I already did. I sent him sections on the dialectical materialism, and basically he was like, shit man, okay, so what you've written here is basically a long discussion with no certain ending. And I'm like, oh fuck. And he wasn't sure about some of the resources. I was using like Marxist.org and stuff like that, which I assume would be a reputable source for Marxist material, since like people like Zizi would send me Marxist material from there, so I assume that it's acceptable for the Marxists to use Marxist.org. But he said he might not be the best person to ask because he only did Marxism for 2 years. I'm thinking, fucking, that's still 2 years more than me. But yeah, I'll keep working it basically, because yeah, I don't want to be the subject of one of Layman's videos, because goddamn it, I want to be right. I tell people, like, they're like, what can I do? It's like, just read, learn stuff, find where you're not good, and find where you're deficient, and just learn shit. I tell you what, right? Fucking Mein Kampf is a real eye opener. I'm probably going to do a video of multiple videos about this, actually, because it's genuinely fascinating to me, because, like, politically, I don't agree with Adolf Hitler. I don't agree, like the Jews are the single greatest threat to civilization. I don't agree in racial collectivism. I don't agree in racial subjectivism. I don't agree with the government dominating the economy and having a totalitarian dictator. I literally disagree on every solution he has. But it's interesting, the power analysis that he gives. I'm only on page 61 at the moment, so I've not been long reading it, but I've got lots of notes already. Because one thing that's really interesting, right, is it's very much like reading The Ragged Trousered Philanthropists, which I actually have on my desk, because I read it a few years back. and I absolutely adored it. It's a fiction book written in 1915 by Robert Tressel, and the pseudonym Robert Noonan, and it's a description of life in the 1915, or around about that time. It's in order to paint a picture for the bourgeoisie to understand how bad it is at the time, obviously, for the working class. And this is why socialism is popular. And reading the beginning of Mein Kampf has been just like reading this. Hitler is talking about exactly the same problems that, what was his name? Was it Tom? I'm just flipping through it quickly. I read this like 5 years ago. I wasn't annotating it or anything like that. So Owen is. He's an artist, and he's obviously, the smarter one of the group, of the people he knows in the working class. But him and his wife and his son are really, really poor, and they struggle to get by, and he works his ass off. And because he's a talented guy with painting or carving or whatever, he can do designs and stuff like this. He just starts earning some more money, and then he basically he's a socialist, and he gets some socialist literature, converts himself to being a socialist, and basically spends a lot of time arguing with the other builders about because he's working on building or renovating a house, and he's arguing with them about how much better it would be. Hitler is describing exactly the same sort of thing, but in reverse. He's disgusted by these people, not because they are complacent with the status quo, but because they're boorish and stupid, and they tend towards socialism. And he argues that it's like Marxism. And he argues that it's to the real deficit of the bourgeois parties that they're not tapping into this group of people who could be winning them elections. As in, if you were to promise them social reforms, say, for example, a minimum wage, or some sort of healthcare, food dole, or something like that. If you were to offer them a small amount, you would have had a huge amount of support on your side. And instead, this support's being taken up entirely by the communists, who are saying, well, we're going to overthrow everything. You've got nothing. You may as well listen to us. Things are never going to get better, because the German government had apparently been intransigent on these issues as well. The bourgeoisie had said no, and needless to say, this was forcing the Marxists to it was forcing people into the hands of the Marxists. But I tell you what, right? Hitler was fucking woke on the communists. He was absolutely woke. He totally understood how the SJW tactics, which is quite amazing given how Hitler was actually an SJW. Let me find the quote. It's really interesting. And Hitler views Marxism as how do you put it? He views it as like a war, like it's constantly a war. He's got a bit. I'll find it another time. But he's got a bit where he thinks that Marxism and the Jews are the biggest threat to humanity. It's like, well, the Marxists are. Okay, hitherto my acquaintance with the Social Democratic Party, which is the Socialist Party, the Marxist Party, was only that of a mere spectator at some of their mass meetings. I had not the slightest idea of the social democratic teaching or the mentality of its partisans. All of a sudden, I was brought face to face with the products of their teaching and what they called Welt and Schung. In this way, a few months sufficed for me to learn something which, under other circumstances, might have necessitated decades of study, namely that under the cloak of social virtue and love of one's neighbour, a veritable pestilence was spreading abroad, and that if this pestilence be not stamped out of the world without delay, it may eventually succeed in exterminating the human race. Now, I mean, I don't think the communists are actually going to exterminate the human race. Mildly hyperbolic. But describing it as a pestilence is pretty fucking interesting, because Marxism really is. It's fucking grim. And, here's another thing, right? This is really interesting, how he spends ages whining about the condition of the working class. Because he moves to Vienna when he's young. His parents have died. And he needs money, obviously. He's piss poor. He's got nothing there. So he's just, like, working in workshops and stuff like this. And this is why it sounds so much like the ragged trouser philanthropist. Because when he was living in the countryside, he came from the petty bourgeoisie. And this is how he describes it. And so it wasn't like he was a poor guy, naturally. And so he had to experience the life of the working class. And he has this really interesting bit where it's basically the opposite. You know how the SJWs are always like, well, we have to educate you on the crimes of white people. You know, it's like, if we don't educate you, you're not going to know just how much privilege you had, how bad white people are. Well, Hitler's basically the same, just in the other direction. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. It's like, he goes on about the trade unions being a weapon of the Marxists. It's like, well, it's probably accurate, to be honest. Sorry, I'm just finding this. It's genuinely like eye-opening. Right, okay. So nationalism in Germany at the time, it was basically people virtue signalled for that rather than the sort of globalism we have now. And so, like, he complains about, like, national feeling and being patriotic and things like that. But really what he's saying is it's just the sort of the bourgeois highest value. And so, you know, they don't care about immigrants. They don't care about climate change. You know, in this, it's like they don't care about the nation. It's just whatever it is that you put as the highest value. But basically, he sits there complaining that the poor people are... I mean, like, his bourgeois contemporaries are astonished at the lack of patriotic enthusiasm which this young citizen manifests. Day after day, the bourgeois world are witnesses to the phenomenon of spreading poison among the people through the instrumentality of the theatre and cinema, gutter journalism and obscene books, and yet they are astonished at the deplorable moral standards and national indifference of the masses. As if the cinema bilge and gutter press and such like could inculcate knowledge of the greatness of one's country apart entirely from the earlier education of the individual. Then I came to understand quickly and thoroughly what I had never been aware of before. It was the following. The question of nationalising a people is first and foremost one of establishing healthy social conditions which will furnish the grounds that are necessary for the education of the individual. Only when family upbringing and school education have inculcated in the individual a knowledge of the cultural and economic and above all political greatness of his own country, then and only then will it be possible for him to feel proud of being a citizen of such a country. I can fight only for a thing I love, I can love only what I respect, and in order to respect a thing, I must have at least some knowledge of it. That's exactly what they do with white privilege. That's exactly their opinion. They're not... so many SJWs, right? Like, it's easy to pay attention to the total arseholes, but the ones that aren't, right, they just consider you ignorant and uneducated on the horrors of your country. And it's, you know, yeah, they were, but that's history. You know, I'm not gonna say that any country should live in shame because of what their ancestors did. That's ridiculous. You live in shame for what you did. And even then, these were the standards of the time. You know, there have been moral innovations since this point. And this is why it's not really fair to be angry at Karl Marx for Stalin, because he didn't know this was going to happen. You know, it actually wasn't his plan. And that's the worst part about Karl Marx. I'd really rather just hate the man, but I don't think he was actually evil. Or at least trying to be evil, you know. But yeah, it's very interesting how he talks about the bourgeoisie as well. And this is something that I've noticed in Rousseau, and it's interesting that Hitler noticed the same thing. And it's interesting how he was part of the bourgeoisie and then is returning to tell them about it, basically. It's very interesting. Naturally, as I said, I don't agree with any of his conclusions, but it's interesting to see what he was perceiving. And one of the things that I find interesting about Hitler as well is that, like, you can't talk about any of this. Like everyone who's I was asking them about Mein Kampf, right, when I was like younger, and they were like, "Oh, it's really boring. It's really long. It's really dull. There's nothing interesting in there." And I was like, "Oh, I won't bother reading it then." And I read Capital instead. It was fucking awful. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that bad actually. It was boring. It was like reading Leviathan. But yeah, so like, I was going to read them both because I wanted to know what they both had to say. But I didn't end up reading Mein Kampf because everyone would be like, "Oh, it's really boring, it's badly written." It's like, it's actually not. Like, I might do like a sort of like top 10 things about Hitler people don't want to admit. And the first one is that the man was an intellectual. Isn't that like like something you would never hear said? No, he's a monster. Well, yeah, he's a monster as well. But he was a smart guy, actually. Surprisingly, like, good analysis. And the thing is, he used to love studying. He used to love reading books. You know, he'd work his day job and then paint and read in the evenings. And so he was a really well-read guy. Sure, he's a monster, but like, I'd read something by Stalin as well, and he's no less of a monster. So I'm tired of like this sort of like, oh, Hitler. It's like, yeah, okay, but it's just a word now, isn't it? Like there are dimensions to this. And the thing about it is, I don't like someone telling me I can't learn something. It's like, well, I'm sorry, it might be information I need. And honestly, part of it is like, I swear, it's so interesting seeing his like analysis of the working class. It's like, it's true, you know. It's something, and this is what Tressel was talking about, the ragged trousers philanthropists. It's so fucking true, and it's really interesting. I'm actually writing something about like the nature of bourgeois morality, and so I'll actually be referencing both of these in the process of doing that, because so many people in the bourgeoisie just do not understand the working class. They just don't understand them. They don't understand what they think. They don't understand what they do. And they honestly think like Adolf Hitler and go, well, they're just really ignorant. They don't know anything. They don't have... And it's like, no, they know things, just not the same things. You know, not the things that make them ashamed of their country. You know, they understand their own interests. Do you know Turd Flinging Monkey addresses all the issues where... He issues all the egalitarian anti-feminist YouTubers refuse to... Would you go on his podcast? I'm not... I don't think I'm familiar with him. But yeah, I guess I haven't got a problem talking to anyone, like I said. Here's my colonial reparations, you British scum. That's how it works, right? Actually, it's the other way. Sorry. Marx, to be fair, was mulling an idea that hadn't been put into practice. If he saw what his idea led to, he'd probably refine his theory. Totally agree. I'm sure that if he knew that the petty bourgeoisie wouldn't just be subsumed into the proletariat, he would have reviewed his position as well. Because, I mean, that just hasn't happened. he was like, this is going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. Didn't happen. Would you even rape Hitler? No, I wouldn't even rape Hitler, to be honest. I mean, I'm not gay, so I don't know why I'd want to have... If I was going to rape someone, I wouldn't rape a man. But I'm never going to rape anyone, so... And I tell you what, that'll be... Oh, God, who knows what the future holds. Not joking. But I tell you what, man, this fucking... Oh, my God, this Hollywood shit. Like, Charlie Sheen being accused of raping Corey Feldman or something when he was 13, and Charlie Sheen was 19. It's like, holy fuck, this is... Everyone's like, where's the male feminist video? It's like, dude, when is it going to stop? when is all of this stuff going to stop coming out? Because I would love to get this video done. I've got a lot written up for it, but, like, it keeps happening. Marx said he wasn't a Marxist after the Paris Commune. Yeah, I can imagine he did. I've heard that before, actually. Hitler was literally Hitler. He was. But it's interesting, like, his motivations weren't bad ones. He wanted to help Germany. He wanted to unite Germans, right? But, like, or at least these are the lies he tells us, and presumably himself. But it's like, there's no reason to think he doesn't believe it. But the thing is, he is a total fucking extremist. There is absolutely no black and white in his worldview. It's one or the other, and it's all the fucking way. And, like, you know, when he's like the Marxist, right, they're going to destroy humanity. The Jews are also going to destroy humanity. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, do you not think that's a bit far? You know, maybe they're going to oppress the Germans. That'd be more realistic. You know, maybe, you know. Destroy humanity. They are humanity. Why would they want to destroy themselves, you loon? So I've got a really dry throat. Fucking, honestly, I feel like total shit. It's bullshit. Is Floella my mum? No, but I remember her being on TV when I was a kid. And I remember noticing that she had the same surname as me, finding it odd. Because, you know, I was like 5 or something. German cucks become Hitler. I'll tell you what. Fucking neckbeard uprising, isn't there? And honestly, I'm proud to be a part of it. I love the idea that neckbeards is just like, you know what, fuck this. We want representation. We should be demanding representation. I want fat guys with beards in Warhammer 40,000 as Space Marines. I want them fucking in Hollywood movies. See, this is why I quite like Seth Rogen. But no, seriously, I want like every action movie star to be a kind of like slouchy fat guy with a beard and a Cheeto stained t-shirt. What do I think about the reforms going on in Saudi Arabia? I answered that earlier. I don't really know what's going on because I haven't been looking into it. So I can't give you any informed analysis on that, I'm afraid. Which I'm sure check the Caspian report. They've probably the Caspian reports. In fact, I might have a look. Such a good channel. Yeah, the geoeconomic. Oh wait, that's of Saudi Arabia's NEOM project. He put up yesterday. But keep an eye on that channel because it's really good, really well researched, and he covers all of this. This is basically where I keep up with Middle Eastern events and a few other places. Hitler didn't implement real Nazism. What real Nazism looks like? Yeah, good question. What would it look like? Hitler wasn't a real Nazi. Guys, imagine the alt-right saying that to you. Like, Hitler wasn't a real Nazi. Like, what? During World War I and after, there was extreme German phobia in the US, even towards Germans who fully assimilated and possibly pushed them into the Bund. Yeah, and that's why Trump's father changed his name from Drumpf, isn't it? Like, hatred of the Germans. So Trump actually comes from an oppressed family, which is pretty fucking incredible. And they literally use his name as a joke. Drumpf. Yeah, that's the old name I had before persecution. You fucking hypocrites. You absolute unbelievable fucking shameless hypocrites. It's fucking disgusting, isn't it? Really, I just can't get over these people. I swear to God. Was Hitler for or against Gamergate? It depends where in the position in the totem pole he was. If he was ruling Nazi Germany, he'd be anti-Gamergate. If he was not ruling Nazi Germany, he'd be pro-Gamergate because he'd use this method to take over. Steve Shives touched your penis. That's disgusting. Why would anyone touch Steve Shives? Like that's assault. Italian fascism, best fashion. Fucking right. Italian anything, not best anything. Sorry, I'm joking. There are actually loads of really good things, just not empire-wise. The last thing Italy did that was any good was Rome. So the Third Reich perverted National Socialism, which is an ideology of peace. Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, National Socialism. No, I've already explained why it's shit. Laissez-faire capitalism just produces the best results. It produces the freest societies, the happiest societies, the societies least likely to commit genocide. You know, with genocide isn't part of the ideology itself. That's a good start. Corey, you fucking psycho. You literally have a comic about murdering Ash. He's a 10-year-old boy. Yes, he is enslaving the Pokemon, but some of them like it. Maybe if it was a voluntary system. Pokemon goes ANCAP. How many brown shirts do you own? I've got a lot of black shirts. I'll tell you what, man. Liberal fascism is going to be awesome. When I am the liberal dictator of the world, it's like, no, you've all got to be free. It's like, yeah, but we don't want to be free. It's like, that's too bad. You're all going to be forced to be free. I'm going to pull a Rousseau. I tell you, I do love Rousseau. I legitimately love, like, just the fact that he's kind of a dick. I like that about my historical characters. That's why I like Alcibiades so much. What about Destiny not owning up to donating to the British Midget Charity? What? Probably true, let's be honest. What's the best way we can contact you? So we have a fun chat with you. I don't know. Thing is, it's about time. I can't really just like chat to everyone all the time. Cause it's just me. So, like, honestly, this is kind of the best I can do. You know, I do try to spend time interacting with people and stuff, but and I'm really not trying to sound like a dick about it either, because that's how I feel like I sound when I say this. But it's just like it's just a lot to do, you know. it's just a really huge amount. And I'm not trying to overplay it either. Like, I woke up today, it's like, you have 60 new messages. I was like, okay. I've read through most of them, I think, when I was ill on the thing. Sorry, what was the... well, if it's one of your life goals, man, I don't know, send me a message on Facebook, and yeah, we'll have a chat, man. I don't mind. It's cool, man. Thoughts on the debate between Kyle Kalinske and Razor Fist? Yeah, I was impressed with Kyle, to be honest. I didn't think he was going to be so proficient, but the thing is, all he did is cite stats. Razor Fist could have easily crippled him by just saying, okay, but I don't care if Trump's shit. And he'd be like, yeah, but what then? It's like, yeah, exactly, what then? Why don't I care that Trump's shit? What must be the tremendous social force that puts people behind Donald Trump because they're in opposition to it? It's what Hitler is describing. You know, the sort of perfidious sort of invasive pestilence that just has to be fought with any tool possible. And luckily the tool is Donald Trump, who's honestly relatively benign, I think. You know, he's just a dick. I don't think Donald Trump's going to do anything particularly genocidal. Hey, I might, that might come back to bite me when he glasses North Korea or something, but he just seems to be all talk. It's like, and he makes quite savvy moves as well. The Syria strike was amazing, actually. So yeah, I mean, he's been taken by the establishment. He's just going to be a puppet now. But he pisses off the left, and that's what Razorfish should have done. He should have been like, look, I just don't care about whether Donald Trump's shit. The point is, he pisses you off. He makes you realise that you have to change. And he could have just skipped answering any of the policy shit. He could have actually got down to the root of, why Donald Trump is in the presidency. Because it's fucking dumb. It's like, Donald Trump? The man was a meme before he even fucking ran. It's like, it's what? Is he really the best tool? But I've got my MAGA hat, so I don't give a fuck. I was in Trump Tower, I had to get it. But no, seriously, it's like I just don't defend Donald Trump. You don't need to, because it's not like they can defend Hillary Clinton. So it's like, okay, where are we now? We both had really terrible candidates. So what were we really voting for? You were voting for the status quo, and I was voting for anti-status quo, because the status quo is oppressive, and that's why Donald Trump won. You need to change, and honestly, the attack, the constant fucking white people or white men, holy fuck, that's why people are voting for Donald Trump, dipshits. Just knock it off. I mean, you would never do this about any other group, can you? I mean, when the alt-right do that about Jews, right? The unbelievable autistic screeching, but they think all Jews are white men, because a lot of the time what they're actually talking about is the high accomplishment of Jews in society. For a lot of these people, I mean, Harvey Weinstein's white privilege. I don't think it was his white privilege that did this, But would you be open to speaking with more Americans to see what pro-liberty people are like across the pond? Yeah, I speak to a lot of Americans. I've been up there like 4 times this year. It's been great every time as well. Although I tell you, I wasn't a huge fan of San Francisco. I worked on the Trump campaign and always wanted to relay our perspective on the regressives. Yeah, I don't want to commit to anything because I'll probably not follow through because I'm shit. But message me, and if I find myself some time and stuff like that, then I will do it. Do you have Antifa show up when you speak in London? No, I'd like to have a nice evening with people, and just talk shit with people. Like, hey, there's a bunch of stuff. Isn't this fun? No, I don't show up at all. Aren't the bourgeoisie just people who live in cities? No, actually, because the cities are where you get the most wealth inequality, or at least back in the early 20th century, if Tressel and Adolf Hitler are to be believed. The countryside is relatively petty bourgeoisie, as Hitler describes it. I don't see any reason to doubt that. I don't see why he would be wrong there. But in the cities, you get much higher wealth disparity. So someone's really poor until they can establish themselves and basically work their way up the chain. But cities are really competitive places. And, and interestingly, the cities draw in talent from the countryside, leaving a dearth of talent in the countryside. So it means that anyone who wants... You don't have to work as hard in the countryside to achieve a position like a GP or something like that, because you've got less competition. And other people are just leaving to the cities where there's more competition, so it's more difficult. So you've got more people who aren't getting ahead. But it's like, just move back to the fucking countryside. We have instant communication anywhere on the globe now. You don't need to be in a big city. There's absolutely no advantage to it anymore. Like, because I mean, I live an hour's train journey from London. That's 1 hour. That's nothing. You know, it's really easy for me to get to London, and no one drives around London. You know, it's ridiculous. You take the fucking underground because it's much better than the New York one. And it's just like, there's no need to live in these giant cities anymore. The communist is the bigger enemy than the fascist to the capitalist. The fascists aren't good, though. So it's like the... Okay, so here's a story from Alcibiades. So he's trying to persuade, I think it might be the Argives or another Greek city, to join in coalition with Athens rather than join with Sparta. And they're like, well, you know, why do that? You know, either way, you're going to swallow us up little by little, because Athens' influence was growing. Because Athens was a huge commercial centre. And they were like, you're going to swallow us up little by little. And you're going to swallow us up anyway. And Alcibiades goes, yeah, but if we swallow you up, it'll be little by little and from the feet, whereas the Spartans will begin at the head and devour you all at once. And that's really the difference. It's really the difference. It's the fascists will just slowly shrink the economy and take over control of everything, whereas the communists will take it all in one go and just crash the economy. So yeah, that's the difference. They're both shit. But I tell you what, the Spartans were literally fucking commies. In many ways. I guess you call them socialists, not communists, actually. But they were totally fucking socialist. And Athens was remarkably capitalist. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a very enterprising city. It's anachronistic to apply these labels, but it's the easiest way to explain them to people, to get a sense of what the thing is. Because I mean, like, Sparta was totally oppressive. It's like, and even for the Spartans themselves, you know, they had strict regimes. They had to do specific things, or they could get chucked out of their messes. Everyone had to join a mess, and you had to get unanimous consent from the mess. So it's like, fuck, your behaviour has to be on point, so that not one of them rejects you. It's like, think of the social, like, tyranny of that. I would find myself just, you know, one guy's like, I actually know that you're a bit of a prick because I saw your tweet to Jess Phillips, and I'd be like, yeah, well, I wouldn't even rape you either, and suddenly I'm out. You know, I'd find it really constraining. Jaden says, I'm not a clever man. What do you suggest for people who want to understand the deeper ideas behind politics, but may not necessarily be intelligent? I think that if you take the time, you can logically understand any of it. It's only like the Frankfurt School is definitely pushing my levels of intelligence. I've read about, I don't know, 50 pages of Dialectic of Enlightenment on the train. On the plane over to America one time, and I tell you what, I was just like, fucking hell, this is a tough read. You know, I was like going through a paragraph and then going, right, okay, what have I understood here? And I think most of it's actually just down to the writing, because it's just written in a weird way. Yeah, I think just time and patience. But you can find readers, so you can find like a Marx reader. So it'll be basically someone who's written a book to analyze this for you to help you understand it. Just check out Amazon, basically. DC Now, an actual Magna Carta in the National Archives, was the centerpiece of a social justice exhibit. I've vlogged about it on my channel. That's cool. Charlemagne. That's really cool. Death to Sparta. November the 25th is the first anniversary of Castro's death. I wonder what Jeremy Corbyn's going to do. I bet he's going to mourn. I bet he wears a poppy or something. Fucking hell. I have a birthday party on the other side of Pinochet. He's still celebrating. Yeah, there's a track called "I Need a Pinochet." It's amazing. It's genuinely hilarious. um, Thebes is best city-state. No, Thebes are just opportunistic cucks, to be honest. No, Thespiae is the best city-state, right? Thespiae, literally like a city that can field like 600 hoplites. It's a tiny number. It's a tiny city. And I think that this is one of their problems is because they just keep fighting to the death. Like, everyone talks about the Spartans at Thermopylae. So yeah, that's the one time the Spartans fought to the death when they had the choice of retreat. The Thespians did it at least 3 times. I can't remember what so once at the Battle of Thermopylae, the Thespians were also there. I'm pretty sure the Thespians were on that one. But the Battle of Delium, where they were opposing the Athenians, and the Athenians like forced back all of the other coalition of the Boeotians, except the Thespians, who just were like, you know what, fuck you. And so the Athenian phalanx ended up bending around the Thespian contingent of 600 odd men and fighting each other on the other side. But the delay allowed the Thebans to smash through the far left wing, because they had a super deep phalanx on the right. And so it was just, and all they do is just stand there and get killed. But they stand there heroically fighting to the death, and they've done this multiple times throughout history. I'm going to make a video on it when I finally get into history stuff, because I tell you what, I can't fucking wait to hang up on politics. I'll probably keep doing philosophy because I like philosophy. It's good fun. But politics, I'm fucking sick of, man. It's a nasty game, man. People are fucking shit. And it's so fast. It's like, you've got, oh god, something's happened in Saudi Arabia. Well, fuck me, dude. Like I'm working on stuff. I don't know. It's. I can't wait to talk about things I actually enjoy. I think it'd be much more interesting. I saw you in Milwaukee and talked to you after the party. Hey, dude, I gave you a book recommendation called 2081. Ah, you did? Yeah. I'll actually put that in a tab and look it up. Yeah, thanks for the reminder. Yeah, it's about a dystopian future of total equality, published in 1981. Yeah, I bet that's fucking awful. Thoughts on China and Korea's reception of Trump? I've only seen the Koi thing. Like I said, I haven't been following that so closely because I've been ill, and I've been doing other things. Like I'm writing this huge thing about the Communist Manifesto. I want to do like a big analysis of it, and point out its flaws. Why it didn't come to pass, why it always kept fucking up into like totalitarianism. And that's why that's taking a long time. What was I going to say? Yeah, so I haven't been keeping up with China and Korea, I'm afraid. My bro thinks you're a total right wing and worships Ayn Rand and Margaret Thatcher. No, not really. I don't like Ayn Rand. I do respect Margaret Thatcher though. I respect the fact that she literally had balls of steel. Bullmoose, I skipped your super chat. Sorry, I thought I'd addressed it. Let me find it. Hang on a sec. I hate coy minorities. I don't know what a coy
as a moderate.
I was watching Jeremy's video. Sorry. Finding the super chats, don't worry. Oh, come on, you fucking mouse. Had this point to tell you that there's no happening on the 4th this month when our favourite hammer and sickle wielding friends come watch rocket launches. Come watch rocket launches down here in Florida with me. Think that. Oh man, I can't be bothered to go to Florida. I've got a lot on as well. I've got a live show next month, so can't really. But Falklands, yeah, exactly, dude. Fuck, just invade British territory. We can't allow that. So I was supposed to say this, that I was sending this for your taste in Greek city-states. Oh, thank you. I do particularly like Athens, though. It's easy to admire Sparta because the whole society must have been a lot of work to keep running. But Athens has got so much more character. They're so much more fun. They do things. They do loads of things, and they love doing things. The Spartans would do nothing if given the choice, because they've got loads of fucking helots working the land. It's like, right, okay, if we leave. And so it was like, there's one point where I can't remember who it is, but an anecdote that someone's in the agora of Sparta, and he's like, look around, how many Helots do you see? And it's like, how many Spartans do you see? And it's like 40-1 or something like that. And it's like, wow. That is like a tiny ruling class of people over a slave nation, basically. And you know, the Perioikoi and whatnot. But yeah, Sparta wouldn't have been a very fun society, and it wasn't very innovative, to be honest. The generals were really, really single-minded, and they kept doing the same goddamn battle plan. And it's like, you're idiots. It's rare to find someone like Brasidas, who's like actually exciting to read about from the perspective of being, you know, the Spartans. The Athenians are so much easier to find exciting generals than the Romans as well. You know, Have I read Plutarch's Makers of Rome? I haven't actually. I've read a lot of Plutarch, but I've never heard of Makers of Rome. Let me look at that as well, because I do love me some Plutarch. I tell you, he is legitimately my favourite author of all time. He just 9 Lives. Yeah, he's just got such a beautiful way with words. It's amazing. 9 biographies. Oh, selected from the Roman Lives. Yeah, I probably have read them then. I've never. This is like a collection on Amazon of Plutarch's lives. Yeah, I've read all the lives. They're really good. There are some just great ones. And you could take any one of them as well and turn it into a fucking movie. That's the thing. Like, it pisses me off. Like, oh, we're going to do a movie about the Romans. Oh yeah, what's Julius Caesar doing this time? Just literally it lasted for 1,000 fucking years. Do something more interesting. You know, it's not the only fucking dramatic. Like, Sulla taking Rome for the first time, man. Sulla was an undefeated general. He kicked every motherfucker's ass, and then he comes back to Rome, takes Rome, and starts executing people, like in the temple next door to the fucking Senate, and he's dictating terms to them as people are screaming as they get stabbed to death in the background, his political enemies. And it's like, holy fuck, how unbelievably dramatic could you make that? You know, Sulla's just come back, this undefeated monster like a demon or something. And then he ends up retiring because literally he kills all of his enemies and repays all of his friends. And that's what he put on his fucking tombstone, I think. But, yeah, there's just so much good stuff. And nobody uses it. Nobody. It's gay. I find this racial tension talk by SJWs painted too black and white, pun intended. It will be fascinating how they react to racial tensions between Asians, blacks and Hispanics. That coming in the future for the United States. Hey, that's true. The Asians are taking over, aren't they? Very highly represented. So, movie about Cicero, please. Yeah, damn right, man. Like, movie about Demosthenes. Oh, dude. I put up on my Ancient Recitation channels, right? I put up the first, 10 minutes of Demosthenes' Third Philippic, because it was so familiar to what's happening now. Like, where you have a sort of bourgeois Athenian class, and they're ignoring Philip of Macedon. They're pretending like he's not just taking Athenian possessions overseas, and like he doesn't have designs in Athens. Like that, you know, Demosthenes will say, well, Philip's just taken this, we should do something. And they're like, oh, you're just being paranoid and stuff like this. And he is just calling them out just for being an echo chamber, basically. And being disconnected from the real world and what's really happening, and being like bourgeois moral virtue signalers. And it's amazing. He's just like, I like Demosthenes a lot. You know? I like his fucking attitude. Honestly, anyone who calls it, because the problem with the bourgeoisie, right, is that the sort of moral construct is entirely fictional. You know, like, think about, like, only just virtue signaling in general. It's all about like being seen to do something or to be supporting something rather than actually doing anything. Like, think of the terrorist attacks. Pray for France. Like, a bunch of people in England put French flags over their profile pictures on Facebook. They don't know a single French person. Not one French person has seen a single one of those flags. So who the fuck are they doing it for? You know, they're doing it for each other, so they can say, "Oh yeah, I was paying attention to world events, and I care about the victims in France. Those jihadis are terrible." You know, assuming they say that, but it's not real. You've done nothing. You've changed nothing. You've improved nothing. You know, it's a status. This is what Jordan Peterson's saying when he's like, most of a person's personality is 95% dead wood. You've got to burn it away. He's absolutely correct, because that's what this is. You build up, oh, I'm a good person because I supported that. I'm a good person because I supported that. And really, you've done nothing but like peacock to people. And at the end of it, it's just like, okay, you need to burn all of this shit away and realize that you have done nothing but being a narcissist, basically. Make a vid on Cincinnatus. We talked to Mythcon. Hey man, dude, I tell you what, when I get the opportunity to do podcasts, I'll be doing like, what I'll end up doing is I'll do like big ones and small ones. So I'll do like a big one on a famous historical event, like I'd love to do something on Sennacherib, like, and his conquest of Jerusalem and things like this. And just the Assyrian Empire, I'd love to go into it. And so I'd get a load of books, I'd, read them all, and that would take a long time, like Dan Carlin style. So in the meantime, I would do smaller ones where I'm just talking about like interesting things that happened, but not in the larger context. Like, and they could be quite entertaining, like 20-minute videos, something like that. And I'll use the original sources and stuff, or like good source or something. But it'll just be something interesting I come across or something like that. But so I could put out regular content, I think. I could also do like historical news as well. Once a week, do a sort of like what interesting historical things have come out, because I mean there are discoveries all the time, and I'd be happy to keep people updated with that. I just love to just go into a different fucking topic than politics. God, when the SJWs can't be defeated too soon, I tell you. And everyone's like, oh, well, you make money fighting the SJWs, yeah, but I think I could probably earn money in different ways. And, I would rather. So, have you read Ordinary Men? Should I read it? No, I don't think I have. No, I haven't read that. Is it good? It's got a 4 out of 5 rating on Amazon, so that must be pretty good. Oh no, 5 out of 5, sorry, it was a different thing. I read, I listened to an audiobook of about 3 hours of Gulag Archipelago, and I wanted to fucking kill myself. It's not boring, it's just grim. It's just like, I mean, okay, you could call it boring actually, but like, it's just because it keeps getting worse and worse, and it's just like this ever descending spiral into just how harrowingly bad the gulags were to live in. And don't get me wrong, like reading what's called The Ominous Parallels, you got a very, very similar feeling reading about the Nazi death camps as well. It's like it's legitimately like these things were totally dehumanizing and fucking awful. And the Nazi ones specifically crafted that way as well. But the Soviet ones probably not. Probably just through negligence, to be honest. I just don't think they gave a fuck. You were just a disposable human being, and it didn't matter. You'd just be slave labor. It's okay not to be raped. Get pissed and get them. Get pissed and get what? I was just talking about this. I tell you what, I was playing a game of Medieval 2 the other day, and I'd only left it on normal. I really should have put it on hard, because I was playing as England, so I was just like, right, just fancy a quick game or something, and I ended up like basically taking the entire northwest coast of Europe. And then I realised that France only had like 6 provinces, and I had 3 giant stacks, and so I just chomped them up in like 3 turns. But the French king was like Louis the Cuckold, and I was like, well, this is better really for you, isn't it? Die in battle, that's better. That's, Fucking... I tell you, I want to debate existential comics. I want to talk to him about these things. Like, how are you going to prevent a Stalin? How are you going to do that? So, quite a good little meme. Don't know if you can see it, actually. Yeah. I can't make it any smaller because I'm stupid. I just won't do it for some reason. But yeah, promoting communism, opposing communism, promoting communism just to watch it fail, and becoming a communist dictator to starve out all the commies. That's the thing about that is that's not true. The communists are the only one who get the food because they're part of the party and part of the power structure. So unfortunately, you're actually starving out all the poor fucking peasants. Just so you know, Simon, if you go into historical podcasting, I'll personally donate you $20. Oh, thanks, man. And the thing with that as well is that if I start making a decent amount of money, I can do basically what the Green Brothers do and start like hiring professors or something. You know, so I could get them to do research on a certain subject and give me important points. You know, give me the quotes from the things, so I could get a lot more done, and it would be really useful, and you know, it'll be a much better experience. Am I going to be playing Bannerlord multiplayer? No, I think I think my grandkids might. Like, when is it coming out? I definitely want Bannerlord though. So let me Google it. Bannerlord. There won't be a date, will there? Okay, let me actually. I'm not looking at something from September. Yeah, it's just scheduled for release tentatively in 2017, according to Wikipedia. Yeah, I've seen like videos of it. It looks good. I can't wait to play it. I still play Mount and Blade from time to time when I've got, you know, when I need to chill out or something. What's my opinion on Rhodesia? It's interesting you say that. I was reading about the Bush War today, in fact. It's interesting you say that. I haven't got a particular opinion. I mean, like, I don't think Pan-African Marxists taking it over and then purging the white farmers is what I would want done. But, you know, I'm not the one in charge of Zimbabwe. White House declared November the 7th National Day for the Victims of Communism. Yeah, I saw that. That'll be in this week. Stupid. Salon screeching. Oh, I better find that. Hang on. I better save that. Come on, mouse, you cunt. Trump's National Day for the Victims of Communism has one major problem. The White House speaks of the horrors of communism with more gusto than the horrors of the Holocaust. Well, maybe that's because there were so many more of them. Just call me crazy. Just that there were fucking loads more. So, what? Yeah, I'm definitely saving that. Sorry, that's, yeah. That's a lot of you fucking autistic screeching. You fucking mouse. Oh, I should probably try and go to bed, I guess. Bannerlord's coming out the day after Half-Life 3. Yeah, you fucking exactly right. Trump did nothing wrong. Wow, got some Jewish people in the chat. Good goy. I love it when I get accused of being a Jew. It's great. I'm a secret Jew. It's like, have you seen my nose? I have my mum's button nose, thank you. My dad's got a nice solid Roman nose, and it's like, no, I've got my mum's button nose. I'm far too Welsh. Have I seen claims of white people undergoing genocide? What, in Zimbabwe? Yeah, I've commented on it before. Link Half-Life 3, yeah, I'd love to. fucking love to. Thoughts on technology changing politics? It really is, isn't it? Like, I see them complaining about Twitter a lot. Hang on, there was something I sent myself actually to talk about, because this was like, it was something with Twitter, but I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, it was like a Vox video or something, where they're talking about how basically Twitter started off as like a total free speech platform, and then it subsumed it, like, you know, it caved into the SJW demands, and like, oh, there's too much harassment, you've got to police the platform. And it's like, what did you fucking think was going to happen when you give people a giant public square with all the celebrities in it, and then give them anonymity? Like, do you really think that's not going to end up with people just going, "You're a cunt and I hate you"? You know, the way to avoid all of this on Twitter, the way to cut down, and I reckon about 90% of Twitter, is just make it so that every account is verified and it's mandatory. You can't have a Twitter account without verifying it in the usual way. So you've got to give your fucking address and all this, you know, telephone number, and you get a verified check. And I'd be like, well, I don't want that. Yeah, you won't. You won't go on Twitter to do all of this, and that will cut out 90% of the problems, right? But they don't want to do it because the fucking verified badge is a mark of status. It's become like a sort of class symbol. I'm absolutely certain of it. And so they're never going to be able to fix their own problems. It's quite amusing, really. Machine learning is quite a scary idea, isn't it? I watched, was it the Deep Mind or something? That when it goes and fucks around with photographs and it covers them in eyes and stuff like that, it's like something out of fucking Cthulhu. What is this horror? And I'll find it. Was it called Deep Mind or something? Oh, I can't fucking remember. Block the spammer. Alright. There you go. Oh, fuck you. Thing is, what's the point? I mean, like, make Greece great again on Rome 2. Yeah, I could do, actually. I could do. I'm paying $5 not because I want you to read something, just to be supportive. Okay, thanks, man. Fuck's sake, I'm sure I'd ban that guy, but I can't be fucked to ban people. I'm sorry. It's a lot of hassle. And the thing is, everything I do is really slow at the moment because I feel sick. I have an excuse for everything. Can I give a list of the philosophy books I'm reading? Yeah, well, I've just been talking about them reading at the moment. I do plan to do some sort of reading list, but the thing is, what I want to do is like kind of like book reviews on stuff, you know, because a lot of these, I like doing the book reviews. They take a while. Like I said, I'm doing one on the Communist Manifesto at the moment. But the thing is, I think there's a lot of important information that I can get across quite clearly, and so I think I can give people some good arguments against communists, the Communist Manifesto specifically, because I keep seeing articles like, oh, why is the interest in the Communist Manifesto rising? It's like, hey, because you're programming will be socialists, you cunts. That's fucking why. Any other US trips planned? Not till next year, but Dave Cullen's doing the free speech thing in Arizona. I definitely want to go to that, just to help make it bigger than, you know, like to get as many people there, and I want to be present, you know. So to say that I did my part, because I'd like it to be a success, you know. So I think everyone will be watching. They'll be like, okay, they're having their first shitload con. Oh, go on, you know what? Let's watch this fail. And if it turns out to be really good, which I think it could be, you know, because I mean, like, I was speaking to the MythCon guys, and it's like we could get like a Christian versus atheist debate panel as part of it, and stuff like this, and you know, like, or Islamist, like, it would be really interesting, and I'd be happy to invite a range of different people. You know, I'm tired of this kind of, you know, like at VidCon. My God, every fucking panel was basically progressive, every single one. Oh, Gregory Elliott, I'm making you a moderator, dude. If you feel the need to get rid of those spams, that'd be good. Thank you. Why spam my chat with Arabic? I just don't get it. What do you think about doing a video on the scars of communism on modern curtain countries? It's not a bad idea at all, actually. Here's some shekels, you half-black Jew. Thank you. Give me your shekels. Don't give me your shekels, honestly. You don't have to give it. I'm reading the chat. You know, I'm not just... I watched Joe Rogan podcast earlier where a guy said that by 2040 the entire US budget now will be used for healthcare. How do we stop these walking disease lard whales from ruining our country? Jesus, I would love to. I would need to see the data on that because I doubt it will be. And premiums will just go through the roof, I guess. As male in nursing school, I demand more males should be represented. Males are vastly underrepresented in nursing, and this is obvious sexism. And make sure they're neckbeard males as well. You know, we don't want any fucking, you know, we don't want any destinies running around. You know, just the regular average neckbeard. That's fine. I love the idea of neckbeard representation. Send the spammers gay scat pics. Yeah, in a second. Right, okay. I should probably go to bed. So it is quite late, and I'm not talking about anything interesting now, am I? What news aggregators do you use? News Now is the one I use. I don't know how good it is. It seems pretty good. It's got, like, you know, current affairs, world news, you know, and all the other categories as well. You know, like the science one. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to do videos updating people on things that have happened, because there's been a lot of interesting things. Like, what was the other day I saw that was really fucking cool? I can't fucking remember now, but it was good. just take my word on that. Jared and Ivanka in a world of shit in DC, and New York doesn't want them back. From Raw Story. Good God. Right, yeah. So don't send any more super chats, guys. Good guy myth. What's SEK? Is that South Korea or something? I don't know. I'm terrible with currency and stuff. But right. Thanks for watching, everyone. What have I got?
Communist detected.
I don't have this on this thing.
You are fake news.
I should have been using these more. I was just not fucking not compos mentis enough.
That's right!
Please clap.
These are amazing. I don't know why I don't use these more.
Allah Akbar!
Ah, there we go.
Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar!
Are you happy, person spamming me with Arabic? Right, okay, I'm going to end the stream. Take it easy, everyone.